What they do, Fans Nation, what they do, Miami, Carol City, stand up. The Big Fish Ballers are representing on the field by getting wins. And we got one versus the Washington Commanders on the road by beating them in the nation's capital by a score of 45-15, which is a rare score. I don't think that score has ever been done before by two teams, which is crazy. You'd think with all the games that we done played that there was going to be some matchup that would have got the score 45-15. But we're the first to do it. And speaking of history, Tua's been making it not just for himself, but also for other players, at different skill positions. And right now, he's still on pace to throw for 5,488 yards, which will break Peyton Manning's record for most passing yards in the season. Peyton had 5,477 when he broke Dan Marino's record. So essentially, Tua would break not only Dan Marino's, but he would also break Peyton Manning's record if he does that. And if that happens, for real, man, y'all, we're going to have to really make a serious conversation, a comparison and a distinction between Dan Marino and Tua. I know y'all don't want to do that because, Dan Marino is a legend, especially in Miami Dolphins football and the NFL, but we're going to have to start making that, we're going to have to start having that talking that talk about who's the better quarterback between Marino and Tua, or is Tua already on Dan Marino's level? We're going to have that conversation. And you look at the history we made as a team in after week 5, following the 524 yards showing in the 31-16 win against the Giants. The offense piled up 2,568 yards, which is the most for a team in NFL history through 5 games. We ended up surpassing the greatest show on turf, which went to the Super Bowl and won it and had everybody around the league calling us the greatest show on turf. And so, that's what you see happening. Prior to that, in 2021, Waddle ended up breaking the record for most receptions by a rookie. And that's before we got Tyreek. So I don't want to hear, Tyreek is breaking all these records and Tyreek is getting all these yards and Tua had nothing to do with that, acting like, anybody could have threw that shit to Tyreek Hill and gave him the yards that he got last season and this season. What about when Tua helped Waddle his rookie season, break a record for a rookie wide receiver? You know what I'm saying? I mean, so you got to look at that as well. You got to factor that in. And, you look at the Cheetah and the Penguin last year, they also surpassed Duper and Clayton as well. So we got to factor all these things in. And it's looking like the Cheetah's going to get 2 stacks this year. On top of all that, we got 2 running backs on the same team about to break records as well. Now, I know Chris opted to wait until the end of the season in order to extend Tua Tagovailoa and make him the franchise quarterback. But we need to get him paid, man. We need to go ahead and close the deal. I think all of us fans, the haters and the ones who already believe, we've seen enough. I've seen enough. This team is young. I don't care if we don't go to the Super Bowl this year. I don't care if we get knocked out in the first round. Look at the roster that we have. Look at the players that we have on both sides of the ball. Look at their ages. They're young. So that means we're going to have a competing team. If we keep everybody together and we keep McDaniel as the head coach, we should be able to do this for the next 5 years and have success and be a threat to whoever's trying to get to the Super Bowl in the AFC conference. No doubt. I think owner Steve Ross needs to extend GM Chris Greer because 90% of the decisions that he's made with this roster has been spot on. And y'all see it, and like I said, we're built not just to win now, but we're built to win for years to come. And I know we haven't seen much from the 2021 draft class, but I still like the players that we chose. And I could at least see a future for Nzukama, in Mike's scheme. And I believe that Channing Tindall can be productive, with patience and Vic's defense. So I'm not worried too much about him being kind of MIA so far. He's still legit, so we'll work him in over time. And my bad, not the 2021 draft class. Obviously, we've seen production from them. But the 2022 draft class, we haven't seen, as much production as we like for all the players, but I believe that's coming. And I'm just happy, like I said, that my team is 9-3 for the first time in 23 years. 1990 was the last time that we won 12 or more regular season games. And at that time, Dan Marino was the quarterback. Don Shula was the coach. This year's edition of the Dolphins have won 9 games with 5 more games to play. And, I think we can make it to 12 wins. Do y'all think we can make it to 12 wins? If so, let me know in the comments section. I think we can, especially when you look at our upcoming games on the schedule. 4 of the final 5 games were at home, where we've won 17 of the last 19 games. So I expect us to get a first-round bye this season. I'm calling it. I'm putting it out there. They say, as a man thinketh, so is he. I think we're going to the Super Bowl this year. I think we're going to get a first-round bye. We're going to make that shit happen. I see it, and I believe it. I hope y'all do too as fans. Are we the best team in the AFC conference now after the Jaguars lost to the Bengals, who beat them without Joe Burrow? Yes, I believe we are. And you look at that game, that goes to show you also that when they say we haven't beaten nobody and all this other kind of shit, you can lose to a team on any given Sunday. Who knew? I never would have thought that the Jaguars would have lost to the Bengals, who didn't have Joe Burrow, starting some quarterback named Jake Browning, who ended up balling, making plays for him. And to the point to where I was looking at, they showed Joe Burrow, just on the sidelines, injured, looking at the Surface tablet, looking at the field. Joe Burrow looked like he might be worried for his job because Jake Browning, I know it's just been one game, but let's say he does this over the next 3 games. Questions are going to start being asked like, is Joe Burrow really that guy like how we thought he was, or is it just Zach Taylor's offense? You know what I'm saying? So that might become a question. That might become a question mark. But they started a law firm, with quarterback Jake Browning. I think the running back's name is Eric Brown. And the Browning and Brown law firm, just like Morgan and Morgan, found a way to pull off an upset for the people of Miami to place us, in first place in the conference. Combine that with the Chiefs' loss to the Packers, who outplayed them. And again, who would have thought the Chiefs would have lost to the Packers? That's supposed to be a team they're supposed to beat, but they lost to that team. So it can happen to anybody. The Texans right now, if the Chiefs were to play the Texans in the playoffs, or even the Colts is a problem. It's a lot of teams that you don't think is a problem could be a problem. The Browns could be a problem if they get in the playoffs, and everything starts clicking the way it should. You never know. You just never know. But Jordan Love has been getting better. Colin Cowherd, he just keeps looking foolish by the week. And out of touch by, a lot of his previous takes on the Dolphins, on Tua, on quote-unquote small quarterbacks. He's been so wrong, because all the small quarterbacks, if y'all notice, they've not only outperformed the tall quarterbacks this year, but they've also been more durable as well, and you add in the injuries to the quarterbacks in the conference with the way our offense and defense have been playing. And like I said, I think we're a legitimate Super Bowl contender. But let's go ahead and break down this game. First quarter on defense, there's 2 things that I noticed about the duel between the Commanders, OC Eric Bieniemy, and Dolphins DC Vic Fangio. Number 1, I can tell that Eric's game plan coming into this game was to try to score on us by attacking the middle of our defense, either by land or by air, and, finding holes in Vic's zones. For example, they ran the Texas formation on us and completed a pass to Curtis Samuel, who ran an angle route, that's straight Walshism 101, taught by Andy Reid. We run that as well. A lot of teams around the league obviously run the angle route and in college, so it's nothing new. But Coach Mike McDaniels had success deploying Mostert, A-Chain, and Ahmed on angle routes, and Tua has found them either on design plays or as checkdowns, and they've made some yak plays off of those, but I would like to see Mike use them in more running back screens and maybe have our fullbacks we only got one right now, which is Alec Ingo running angle routes. And as great as Alec Ingo has been as a blocker, I haven't seen him make moves in the open field and show some wiggle, to break tackles, and that's why I want us to sign free agent for now, fullback Xander Horvath. I'm not sure if he got signed by somebody else, but he was previously with the Chargers, previously with the Steelers, and I had him on my draft board as a player that we should target at the time, but we didn't get him. But he's available now. I think he has the wiggle as a fullback, and I think he can run routes as well, and he could be a change of pace, someone we could alternate in with Alec Ingold, depending on, whatever the plays are. And I think he could provide that ability. Obviously, you can use any of your skill plays to run angle routes, but there's a reason why I prefer the fullback to run it. And the reason why I prefer a fullback is because teams, number one, never game plan for the fullback, and if properly used, he could be a decoy, he could be a power running back, he could fake like he's checking and releasing and actually staying and blocking, or he can actually check and release, or he can run the angle route. There's a lot of things you can do with him that can confuse the defense and have them worried about something that's not really there. You know what I'm saying? And that'll free up other players. And this is what Don Shula did in Marino's offense. That's how we used Woody Bennett. That's how we used Tony Page. That's how we used Keith Byers. And there was many games, like I said, where half of Marino's yards went to those guys, even though he had Duper and Clayton, and so I think we should do, I think that Mike McDaniel could do the same thing if, we add another fullback. Maybe we can cut Ahmed and add Xander Horvath, and we'll have a running back room of of A-Chain, Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Chris Brooks, Alec Ingold, and Xander Horvath as that second fullback. But back to this game, I noticed that, like I said, Eric showed on that play that, you can get catches to your receivers in space running that route. At 13 minutes and 19 seconds, they ran an inside run to Antonio Gibson to try to exploit the middle interior of our D-line, and he gained about 12 yards on that run, made a nice jump cut and adjusted to the leverage and got up in there. Our linebacker should have stopped it, but we didn't on that play. But we did clamp down and attack when we needed to stop him in the first quarter. I noticed that Vic did an excellent job of mixing up the coverages and mixing up his zones, timing his zone pressures and having our secondary do different things. And, I talk a lot about Mike McDaniel creating deception on offense, but I've noticed, through these weeks here that Vic's created a lot of deception on defense. I mean, there were times when Howard and Ramsey would play zone and make hard-hitting tackles, Cater making hard-hitting tackles in their area to prevent, the ball catcher or the running back from getting extra yards. Other times, we would line up in a press coverage bumper run and have one of them backpedal slowly backpedal 5 yards off of the receiver into a zone, and reading the quarterback's eyes. And I mostly seen Ramsey doing that, but I seen Howard also doing that as well. And you could tell it created a lot of confusion for Sam Howell this game. For example, on a play with 11 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in the first, you see a play where we're in a two safety shell. Howell throws it to Samuel, but safety Brandon Jones was able to telegraph it, and he delivered a pop right on time to stop him short of the first down. Then at 11 minutes and 9 seconds, you see us in a similar zone look, but this time you see our linebackers creeping to the D-line, that slow creep to the D-line at the same time, but sending only 2 on the zone blitz, and that sped up Sam's clock too much, and we caused a hurried throw and an incompletion. At 9 minutes and 28 seconds, we showed a different look. We had Xavier Howard on the left side in press with Ramsey playing off about 7 yards pre-snap, and we sent delayed pressure with David Long Jr. blitzing And I think that forced Sam to have to run for his life to the left sideline. Shout out to Raekwon Davis on that play as well. You saw him speed up, show off the agility and hustle to get Sam Howell over there on the sideline to the right side. Then the very next play, he's got Ramsey, Howard, and Cater playing man bumper run against the Commanders tight single back, 2 tight end, 2 wide receiver set. They tried to confuse us with motion from the tight end, but again, Vic Fangio sent delayed pressure down the middle with David Long, and Cater played sticky, icky coverage using his arm as a toll gate to get a pass deflection. Like what I saw there. Next play that I noticed, 8 minutes and 43 seconds, we're impressed. Vic didn't send a blitz this time. He just sent pressure with a four-man rush, and AVG hit him with a ridiculous spin move and got the sack. And look, man, AVG might be the best pass rusher on this team. I mean, I would even go as far as to say he's top 5 on this team as far as instincts. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Jalen Phillips, he's fast. He's legitimately the future for us. Bradley Chubb has also improved a lot as a pass rusher, especially over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And, you know, he's definitely trending upward. But I remember I used to get mad at him for not having any countering inside moves. You know, like, for example, you got to have that spin. You got to have that straight hand move. You got to have that Reggie White move where you fake outside and you come in and then use your strength and leverage, you know, to push the O-lineman, you know, to get him on the ground. You know, Reggie White had a lot of strength. He was able to do that shit on whoever the O-lineman is, Pro Bowler or not. And I think that if Bradley Chubb can add those interior moves, he could be elite. He could be elite right away. He could be an elite rusher if he can find a way to have some inside moves. I think AVG has already shown that he has that, you know, which is why I think Vic Fangio has no problem and it is delightful to use him as a rusher force on the edge. Even in coverage, like AVG's instincts are good. When it comes to tackling, he's been creating turnovers. You look at that pick 6 that he got before the end of the first with 1 minute left. You know, he just wanted it bad enough. He jumped up, got the ball, you know, and he just showed that nose for the football and made a game-changing play for us. You know, that gave us the lead 17-0 in the first. And it's also been consecutive weeks, you know, that our defense has scored. I think Chris Greer, you know, like I said, should get an extension and you know, he should give AVG an extension, and I think that AVG should maybe be one of the captains on this defense. Maybe captain of the linebackers, you know. I know that usually goes to the middle linebacker, but I think AVG has the instincts to make adjustments if needed. Not saying that Jerome Baker can't, not saying that David Long Jr. can't. They both got instincts too. But it's just something about AVG that I just think he's a captain. He's a captain to me. Some notes I took on offense. When we got the ball on offense in the first and, you know, we was able to score, put up points with ease. 9 minutes and 40 seconds, Tua hooked up with the Cheeto on a mini yak bomb for touchdown to give us a 7-0 lead. And not only was that touchdown spectacular, but the celebration was also spectacular as well. It's something that they practiced. You saw Tua and Barrios strapping it up in a roller coaster, you know, with their hands up. And that shit, you know, that was a cool celebration. I hope we got more to come. I'm pretty sure we do. And I like how Mike leveraged both most of the A-chain in this play calling. If y'all notice, I think besides maybe one run on his runs to the wide left or off left tackle, he used A-chain. But on his runs to the right, off the right tackle, you know, he used Raheem. And it presented a lot of problems for their defense. At 7 minutes and 14 seconds, you saw Tua threading the needle to Waddle on a back shoulder throw between 3 defenders. And, you know, Tua's been a real estate agent all season, all fucking season, just using the football as a drone to find land. And he doesn't care how many defenders are in the proximity. He feel like, you know, he can just fire it in there on time, and it's going to get to the receiver. That was a 16-yard third down conversion. That got us to the 50 and a first down. Then they connected again on the angle route concept where Waddle got some yak, and that put us at the 30, short of the first down, but it helped us put 3 on the board, even though we should have scored a touchdown. That made the score 10-0 before the AVG interception. Second quarter notes that I took: the organized confusion continued on defense with Emmanuel Ogbah getting a sack to start the second off of domination. And this is back-to-back weeks now with Ogbah getting a sack, and it just goes to show the depth that we have on this team off the edge. Fangio pretty much got 4 rushers that at his disposal that he can deploy at any time. There's not going to be no drop-off in the production, and he can sleep good at night knowing that he can attack defenses however he wants. And if the opposing offensive line, they don't have the endurance, if they don't have the conditioning, they're done. They're pretty much done. If the OC didn't have enough time during the week to scout us and figure out which rushes Vic likes to deploy in certain situations, if he didn't get the scouting report on what the strengths and weaknesses are, they're done. They're done because we're not going to get tired. The production's not going to stop regardless who we roll in there, Now, we did allow running back Brian Robinson Jr. to get busy on us in the second. Eric tried to stick with pounding the rock inside, and they gashed us for a few runs, before getting a chunk run on us. And, so that's the only thing that I didn't notice with our defense. At 14 minutes and 10 seconds, Brian Robinson Jr. he broke a lot of missed tackles on the 28-yard run to the left side of our defense. And I think the reason why that play worked is because Eric Bieniemy got creative himself. We talk about Mike McDaniel's creativity, but Eric got creative here. They ran a fake wide receiver bubble screen on the back side of that run that shifted our linebackers just enough to get them in space on the opposite side. And, it was a good design by Eric. But I was mad because they was in second and long. That was a second and long situation. And, we let them convert on a running play. If teams want to run on second and long or third and long, let it be for like 7 yards, 5 yards, something like that. Don't let them convert. That's, poor tackling. And that brought them in our territory across the 50 to the 40. At 12 minutes and 51 seconds, I noticed the Commanders in a tight single back formation looking to go deep down the field. We sent another delayed blitz to harass the play action. Hit the quarterback, and Xavier Howard shows you why he's still the best man coverage corner in the league. Was not only stride for stride with Terry McLaurin and got a deflection, but that's how they teach it. That's how they teach man coverage on bomb attempts. No pass interference, just elite cornerback play. That was a good DB rep that we saw from Xavier Howard. However, Eric did set us up for a deep shot, and they got one on us, lulled us to sleep with the power play. Then at 12 minutes and 43 seconds, Sam Howell went deep to Curtis Samuel, who caught it at the 1. Then they scored on us with a quarterback sneak from Sam Howell, and that made the score 17-7. How about Zach Silas showing his presence, making his presence felt at the 7-minute mark by collapsing the pocket and getting a sack? That's his second sack in back-to-back weeks. Duke Riley shut down a running back screen attempt and flexed on him. We looked like, we was having fun out there. A lot of players made plays, and there was no weaknesses from any unit in the second quarter. On special teams, Andrew Van Ginkel almost made a play there. He almost blocked the punt. That's a note that I took on special teams. On offense in the second quarter, Mike McDaniel switched up the attack by running more single back plays in the second quarter. And, we found success using a toss play to Mostert and Tyreek to exploit them horizontally, only to set them up for the vertical strike for touchdown. And that's what happened at 10 minutes and 14 seconds. Tua's in a 3 wide receiver look, with Tyreek 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, kind of offset a little bit from the other wideouts, and then Tua play actions to Mostert. And notice how his steps kind of shuffle and get quicker to the end of his drop. And then he plants his foot in the ground and uses arm torque to throw a 60-yarder to the cheetah over the shoulder in stride for 6. And Tua's getting good at this shit. I mean, all this talk about his arm, his deep ball accuracy has been the best in the league so far, bar none. And he's looking like I said, like he's going to continue to make a lot more yards, a lot more touchdowns this year. That right there gave us a 24-7 lead. One of the best throws of the second quarter, one of his best throws of the second quarter was towards the end of the second at 3 minutes and 17 seconds. We're in a bunch look with receivers tight to the right side in the shotgun formation. And Tua again throws with precision over 3 and 4 defenders to Tyreek. He's able to wiggle and bounce for more yardage. Actually, no, my bad. He got stopped, but he did show a little bit of wiggle, but got stopped. But he could have got more yardage on that play because of where Tua placed the ball. His football placement is elite. It's elite. And I think also we're going to have to live with Tua throwing picks from time to time in coverage. I don't think Mike McDaniel cares because I think he trusts Tua to be able to make those plays happen more often than not. I think he trusts him to place the ball, to play cornhole. That's what Tua's been playing. He's been playing cornhole on the football field, tossing it in holes, tossing the football in holes, in zones. And it doesn't matter if they play man coverage, he's making it happen. 1 minute and 33 seconds, he threads the needle to Waddle, who brings it to the 5-yard line, and at the 25-second mark to close the half, Raheem runs it in to make it a complete blowout. We put 31 points on the board at this point, and I'm thinking that we're going to drop another 70 burger because we got all these points, and we get the ball to start the third. I'm thinking Hill might break the record this game, with the way things were going. Third quarter action, one of my favorite and key plays in the third was the second effort and explosiveness from A-Chain at 13 minutes and 4 seconds. Tua was looking down the field, but he couldn't find nobody in the open field, and he went to his last read, which was A-Chain in the flat. Devon caught the ball, made a move, broke a tackle by Hudson that would have made it, a short gain. Myles Gaskin would have got tackled, had it been him. But it's A-Chain, who's him. He broke that, sipped the shot of Hennessy and got money on that play. And that got us in Commanders territory to the 40. And then Coach Mike switched up the attack to the Alabama pistol and used orbit motion with A-Chain. And you saw at 11 minutes and 48 seconds, Tua showing off the quick twitch ability, dropping the shoulder, you know what I'm saying, in the pocket to evade pressure and completing the pass to convert. That's another attribute. Tua's twitchy in the pocket and twitchy when it comes to scrambling. He's made a lot of motherfuckers miss in the open field. So he has that ability. That's something that Tannehill didn't have. And he makes connections to River Craycraft and tight end Julian Hill, who's been helping us as a blocker. But it seems that Coach Embry and Coach Mike McDaniel are starting to trust him more as a pass catcher. And I'm hoping to see him more in the next 5 games. At 9 minutes and 36 seconds, we get another score off of a run from A-Chain, who gives us a 38-7 lead. On defense, we let Howell make plays with his legs on completions to Antonio Gibson and Jahan Dotson. And at 4 minutes and 38 seconds, Sam Howell scrambled and got them on the board for a touchdown. The Commanders converted a 2-point conversion on the pass in the end zone to tight end Logan Thomas to get him 15 points. But the way we're playing the game, it's pretty much out of reach at this point, so it really don't matter. And look, the Commanders, when I look at their team, they got a lot of good skill players, on offense and defense. I don't know why the hell they got rid of Montez Sweat and the other rusher they had. I don't know why they got rid of those guys, but what was his name? Montez Sweat, and it was Chase. I forget his last name. But they got rid of them. They defense, they would have kept them. They defense on that side of the ball probably would have caused, some problems for us, So, but they didn't have that on defense, so we was able to exploit that. And I think maybe with one more year, maybe with Eric Bieniemy calling the plays, I think they'll be able to beat the Eagles or the Cowboys, anybody in that division, because they almost there. They just need O-line help for sure, because we created a lot of disruption and was routinely beating their offensive line every quarter. It was like a turnstile for them. I'm not gonna lie. And I think Coach Rivera is gonna be fired, and probably should be fired. And I think they should roll with EB as their head coach. That's just my opinion. Are they going to be smart and do that? We'll see. Who knows? Fourth quarter, Washington missed a 53-yard field goal attempt on us, and they never scored after that. Some notable plays was the TFL by David Long and Andrew Van Ginkel at 10 minutes and 33 seconds. And then we sat two on the bench and let Mike White control the rest of the fourth. And Mike McDaniels is looking to run out the clock and leave as healthy as possible at this point. Still, we saw the O-line dominating, getting pushed up front for A-Chain, who got us a score late to make the score 45-15. Here's the game stats versus the Commanders on Numbers Lie, Numbers Don't. Tua completed 18 for 24 passes, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a QBR of 90.3 with a rating of 141. That's a better rating than Mike White, who only threw one pass, the whole game. His career high for passing yards is 3,548. Right now, he's at 3,547, so he's going to break that next game, and we still got 5 games to play. I would love to see our running back stack line look like this every single week as far as carries, except I would intentionally give the power back a few more carries. A-Chain led this unit with 17 carries for 73 yards with a 4.3 YPC, got 2 tutties for us, and he's got 9 touchdowns from scrimmage through his first 6 career games, which is the second most in NFL history, only behind Eric Dickerson. So it looks like he's going to break that record. Heem carried 11 times for 43 yards, 1 touchdown, and he averaged 3.9 yards per carry. And, he has his eyes set on breaking the franchise record for the most touchdowns in the season. And I think Kate Adams interviewed him, and he said that's what he's trying. He's looking to do that. He's looking to break Ricky Williams' record. Ricky Williams is the one that set the franchise record with 16 touchdowns back in 2002. And he rushed for 1,853 yards, which was also a franchise record at the time. With 5 games left to go, Mosa needs just 3 more to set the record himself. And right now, he's currently tied with Lamar Smith, who had this number in 2000 for the 3rd most in a single season in Aqua Orange. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had 15. He had the record before Williams, and he's in 2nd place. And I think Raheem is going to do that, no doubt. And Coach Mike seems intentional. I think Mike McDaniel's aware of the records, and he's intentional on having these players, get these milestones. And I know I watch heavy on Fins. I've seen on social media, even myself, talking about why are we not running the ball? Why are we stopping? Why are we going to these pass plays when we should run it here or there? We're trying to break records. That's why we're doing that. We're trying to break records. We're trying to make history. And I want to see it in my lifetime as a Dolphin fan. I want to see us make history again while going to the Super Bowl. Why not? We've seen a lot of shitty play from quarterbacks in the past. Why not see us make history with this roster? Jeff Wilson, he toted it 4 times for 11 yards. And yes, it's just 11 yards for the power back, but I think Mostert can routinely get us 40 to 50 yards off of maybe just 7 carries. And I think Jeff could get at least 35 to 40 yards with 7 carries instead of 4. So 15, my bad. I think A-Chain can get 35 to 40 yards off 7 carries. And I think 15, 7 to 7, that seems like a good round robin number in my opinion. When you add in the potential for wide receiver jet sweeps and tosses, I think we could be the most potent with that number. 15, 7 to 7. 15 for the lead, 7 for the change of pace, 7 for the power. And Mike has been killing teams with the toss runs all year. You know, really, even all of last year since he arrived. And I thought we would go to some stretch run plays, you know, in the West Coast offense. But Mike has been leaning more on the toss rather than the stretch play, which is what Peyton Manning used to run. And I'm glad we cut the fake toss, you know, that Tua was running when McDaniel first got here, because we was never successful, and Tua always looked like he was going to get sacked on those plays. But I think that was more because Coach Mike hadn't yet found success that he could put on tape with the toss play. Now I think DCs are you know, they're worried about Raheem and A-Chain possibly breaking runs off of those toss plays. So I think now we could probably run the fake toss with Tua, and it'll probably work this time, and we'll have some success with it. Hill recorded 157 yards and 2 touchdowns on 5 catches and led all receivers in that department, with scores coming on a 78-yarder and a 68-yard connection from Tua. Both bombs. Last year he set a career high with 1,710 yards on 119 receptions, but he's already recorded 1,481 yards on 92 catches in 12 games this season. He's currently the league leader in receiving yards and is on pace for 2,098 yards, which will make him the first player in NFL history to crack 2,000, which we talked about. On that 78-yarder, he said that Tua noticed the man coverage with no safety over the top and changed his route to a slot fade, which Tua has. He has the autonomy to do that on any given play. And, you know, that's how much confidence that coach has in him. And Waddle was actually targeted one more time than Reek, but finished with 5 catches for 52 yards. Would have had more had he and Tua connected on a bomb earlier in the game, but they didn't connect on that. And I think that's the next phase of this offense. Is, you know, we know we can go deep with Hill, but Tua needs to prove that he can go deep to Jalen also on a routine basis, on a week-to-week basis. They asked Reek if he was having the best season of his career, and he agreed, but he talked about the film study and the work that goes into it. Check out this clip.
And it was just one of those looks that it was a favorable matchup. Tua noticed immediately that that there was a backer on A-Chain, because if you watch the whole play, they had a backer on A-Chain who ran a really good route on the other side. So he really could have picked, you know, either side, you know, for a touchdown. So he signaled me because that wasn't originally my route, and you know, we was just on the same page. So yep. So he has that freedom to be able to do things like that. And that's just us, you know, preparation on Thursdays. You feel me? So our coaches, they do a good job of reminding us, you know, of certain looks, and that was one of those situations that, hey, if we get this certain look, you know, be ready for this signal, or, you know, so we don't have another situation that we had, you know, against KC. So, he did a great job of it.
Our O-line did a good job all game of working as a chain on certain plays. For example, on the first score to Tyreek, they pushed all the commanders to the right side, all the commanders' linemen to the right side, which gave Tua left side vision so that he could throw the football to Tyreek. Connor Williams snapped the ball perfectly, and he's gotten better with preventing high snaps. He snapped it quick, got the lineman in the right position, and, you know, that's how we was able to make that play. And shout out to Austin Jackson as well. He's been an effective blocker for us, and he led the unit versus the Commanders. Out of 25 pass blocking snaps, 0 pressures allowed, only got beaten twice, 0 sacks allowed. And shout out to Coach Barry. He's gotten our guys playing sound on the O-line, so I think he has been a difference maker for us. And this is our 8th different offensive line combination of the season because of injuries to Armstead and others. Still, they didn't allow a sack and surrendered just 2 quarterback hits. So, shout out to the O-line. Defensively, Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin played 82% of the snaps and didn't record a single reception. He was locked down the whole game. And I was laughing like a motherfucker when I saw his post-game interview because he said that all he felt like he was doing was just running cardio the whole game. You know, like he was at Planet Fitness or some shit. Ramsey just had him on lockdown, you know, and that's what happens when you add somebody like him on your team. I think he definitely helped the Rams win the Super Bowl when they added him. And, you know, for McLaurin, it was his 79th game of his career, and only one other time did he fail to record a catch, which was, you know, a game in which he played less than 50% of the snaps. I think he got hurt. In this game, he was healthy. He was just running cardio. He was at Planet Fitness. You know, that's just how it was. The combined numbers for Commanders receivers when targeting Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, and Cater, 87 snaps, 8 targets, 4 catches, 29 yards. That's a combined .33 yards per coverage snap from your 3 starting corners, which is excellent. And not for nothing, X has been rocking out this year, you know, despite the addition of J. Ram. We still see Xavier Howard showing that he's in the top 5 of corners, you know. And he's been on the field for 100 of the defends, 113 snaps in the last 2 weeks. During that time, opposing quarterbacks have barely looked his way. And when they have, you know, he's made them pay. He and Jalen Ramsey pretty much taking the wide receiver position from the opposing offensive game plan. And I think OCs, they've been looking to their backs and tight ends to try to get yardage. We did have some injuries this game. We wasn't able to leave scot-free. Jerome Baker got injured in the first half of this game, and his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said that he's going to get an MRI on his knee. I think he suffered the same injury that A-Chain suffered, so he might be out for about 4 to 5 weeks. From what we've heard, former 49ers first-round pick Reuben Foster, who played for the USFL Pittsburgh Maulers after spending time in the NFL with San Francisco and Washington. So I think Coach Mike McDaniel's familiar with Reuben Foster, so they have a relationship there. And, you know, we worked him out, so he could be signed with us. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he did sign with us. And I kind of would hope that he did, because he was a former first-round pick for a reason, you know. And I think Vic Fangio can find a way to utilize him in our scheme. Also, Mike McDaniel said that Robert Hunt re-aggravated his hamstring injury that caused him to miss time last month. So he'll be week to week, which means we'll be on our 9th different O-line combination grouping. But hey, it is what it is the NFL, so it's the next man up. My final thoughts is the only weakness I see on this team right now is special teams. Because I think Berrios, he's good, but he's not been a threat to take it the distance. And I don't think that Coach Mike likes the idea of A-Chain handling return duties because he needs him more offense. So I think we should either use newly signed wide receiver Anthony Schwartz, maybe try him there, or see if maybe Jakeem Grant could be available. I don't know if Jakeem Grant is signed somewhere, but if he's still available, I would check to see if, you know, if he's a free agent. And I think we should maybe sign him to this roster just for that assignment. I mean, yes, he's gonna muff a couple, but I think the reward is worth the risk. And I think we got the quick strike ability to be able to make up for it if he does muff one. So, and that's just my opinion. That's what I think we should do. Here's my big fish ballers of week 12. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is obviously on that list. Raheem Mostert, Devon A-Chain, wide receiver Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Alec Ingold, Julian Hill, the tight end. This is his first time making the list, but he's on there. Tackle Austin Jackson, Connor Williams, Robert Hunt, AVG, David Long Jr., Duke Riley's on this list. Duke Riley played his ass off this game. So he's definitely on this list. Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, Kaden Kohu, and safety Brandon Jones for filling in for Javon Holland. Next game, we played the Tennessee Titans. Right now, we got a 3-game lead over the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East, and we play the Titans on Monday Night Football at 8:15 on ESPN. The Titans, they're going to have Tannehill on the bench, and they'll be starting rookie quarterback Will Levis, who I gave props to for his ability. Derrick Henry may or may not play due to a possible concussion. We'll see, but I expect us to win and get the 10 wins, and if we do, we'll be able to exhale knowing that we pretty much a playoff lock. You know what I mean? So we got a lot to play for, a lot of things to be excited about. But y'all, that's all I got for this show. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section about what y'all thought about this win, what y'all think about our possibility of having a first round bye. I love to know y'all thoughts. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell, and make sure that you share this video with any of your Dolphin fans, because I'm trying to grow this channel even more. And I love the support that I've already gotten. Shout out to all the subscribers that's already subscribed. But that's all I got for this show. Again, till next time, signing off.